Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today is November 10th. Since November 3rd, 7 days ago, there has been this story in the mainstream media of the death of a 9-year-old boy from Chicago who was supposedly executed due to gang violence. The story is that his father was a gang member for his transgressions. His son was executed, who is pictured on the screen, a 9-year-old. What I want to tell you, Truth Seeker, is that I do not think this is a real story. I think this is a contrived story, part of an ongoing agenda, an agenda that subtly influences racism and negative racial feelings. I realize tragedies happen in this world. I realize people do bad things to each other, but we live in a world with a media that only presents tragedies as it fits their agenda. And after you watch this video, if you have time, please check out my 35th video, The Mainstream Media is a Military Psychological Operations. In this video, I show the history of television, news, and what its real purpose is in this world. Anybody who is awake realizes that the news is not here to benefit us. It bombards us with tragedy, and it gives us tragedies that help form opinions in our minds that are often not helpful to us. There are many people in this world that have been taught to think less of black people through this same mainstream media, also over the years through mainstream education, which of course is improving in more recent years, but in the past, the education system was very much a part of the racism establishment. What I know this will do in some people's minds who have these negative racial feelings towards black people, it will reinforce their belief system that blacks are violent, that they kill their own people, that they are therefore inferior. That's how this story will impact them. Other people, it will just make them feel ill, another unnecessary tragedy. These ill feelings aren't good for us. Awareness is good, understanding problems are out there and how to solve them, that's good. But being tormented with unnecessary stories of tragedy, that's not to anyone's benefit. And with that said, I want to show you why I think this story is contrived by the numbers. Let's begin with this headline that is emphasized. If you're new here, I talk about gematria and numerology and how the mainstream media is actively using these skills against us almost as a weapon. Notice this phrase in Pythagorean gematria or English reduction sums to 144. That is a number very much connected to assassination. On this channel, I have shown how every major political assassination in this nation's history and in many other nations are connected to the number 144, including Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Abraham Lincoln, JFK, RFK, Yitzhak Rabin. Even a recent story from the Maldives just 2 weeks ago, where the vice president apparently tried to assassinate the president, coded with this same number 144. Please check out those videos. I have a playlist called the Assassination Playlist. It's all right there, a wealth of knowledge. But anyway, this is a story of an assassination, and right away the headline codes the assassination number 144. If you write out the word 44, it sums to 144. If you write out the date, April 4th, it sums to 144. Think about April 4th, 4-4. MLK assassinated on that date. Lincoln dreamed he'd be shot that date, only to be shot 10 days later. JFK died on the first day of Sagittarius, which has a gematria of 144. His brother would die 5 years later at 1:44 a.m. Special number, I have a video on the number 144 explaining its significance. None of these numbers are arbitrary. They all have very real, deeper meaning. The boy's name, Truth Seeker, is also Tyshawn Lee, a very racially coded number on black people. There's a reason Jackie Robinson wore 42, and let me show it to you through this picture of Darren Wilson. Darren Wilson is the police officer who supposedly shot Michael Brown in Missouri. Notice he's wearing a shirt with the number 42 that says Blues. This is what you need to know, Truth Seeker. Let's see. The number 59 in Jewish gematria equals kill, and simple English gematria 44. So he has on this shirt with number 42 that says blues. All of these words sum to 59. Negro, slave, blues, Motown Records came out in 59. And remember, this number has to do with killing. As many black people well know, there is a very real agenda against destroying black life on the continent of Africa and very much alive and well here in the United States of America. He shot Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri on August 9th. August 9th is the day that leaves 144 days left in the year. The assassination number. He did it in Ferguson. Both Ferguson and Missouri have gematria of 42. The most hateful word for black Americans sums to 42, nigger. And notice how the word has a double 5-9 coding. N's the 14th letter, 1 plus 4 becomes 5, I's 9, G7, G7, E5. R's the 18th, 1 plus 8 becomes 9. What's interesting about 5 and 9 is they are the only two numbers when written out that sum to 42. These numbers stamped all over black Americans. Black History Month is February. February is the only month with a gematria of 42. February 28th is the 59th day of the year. This stuff is deep. It is so sick. Often in these hoaxes, these incidents, these race-provoking propaganda put out by the media, they code the number 33 as well. All of these numbers having gematria of 33, or all these words having gematria of 33. Michael Brown, Darren Wilson, race war, Black Lives Matter, police, KKK. There's even more. Notice also this happened in Chicago. As I routinely point out in these videos, so many of the stories involving racial division are related to Chicago. The Sandy Bland story earlier this year, coded with these same numbers. She was from Chicago. It just happens again and again. A very famous racial story of a boy involving Chicago is Emmett Till, and this story is coded up the yin-yang. Look at the date he was buried, September 6th, 9-6. The word Freemason equals 96, a lot like 9-6. It is the Freemasons and Zionists who are behind this. Freemasonry is Satanism in disguise. Satanism equals 96. The word Satan is 55. He was buried in the year 55. 1955 alone is also a year with numerology of 74, which has a lot to do with sacrifice. Another very important number to the Masons, Masonic equals 74. Some other common 74 coded words. Emmett Till was born July 25th, 1941. He would die 34 days after turning 14. The date he was born on is a date with 73 numerology. The word sacrifice has gematria of 73. I recently did a video on Joe Biden, and I talked about how heavily the numbers 73 and 144 are coded into Joe Biden and Barack Obama, the 44th president's relationship. And of course, Emmett Till, if he really was killed, was no doubt sacrificed for more racial division, more racial programming. His birthday also has a life lesson number of 47. This is one of the favorite numbers by the Zionists and Masons that they code again and again into their wrongdoing, the reflection of 74. The date he was buried was a date with 89 numerology. Again, Michael Brown killed on 8-9. This number shows up a lot in Black Tragedy. That movie, you might have seen it. It's called Crew Love. Crew spelled this way. Crew that way sums to 42. And Crew Love the small way sums to 33. Anyway, if you've seen the movie, if you do the numerology on the gravestone at the end for the main character who dies, they put the number 89 on it. And I guarantee you that was no coincidence. If you go back and watch that movie with what I told you, watch how his opening dialogue in the beginning of the movie is that he'll get out of bed in 47 minutes. And then he says, make that 51. 47 and 51, incredibly important numbers to Freemasonry and Zionism. Most things produced on TV have Freemason signatures on them. This is how we are programmed, through their media devices. This is their game. That's what I'm trying to wake people up to. Movies, music, television, news. More than that, unfortunately. As for dying at age 14, both the words dead and end equal 14. He died 34 days after turning 14. The word murder equals 34. He was born in the year 41, the reflection of 14. He died in Missouri, just like Michael Brown. Missouri having that gematria of 42, just like you know what. The date he died on, August 28th, 55, a date with 38 numerology, like the word death. Numerology of 110, a number often around tragedy, from the World Trade Centers to the recent church shooting in Charleston, which was by the numbers. I know for a fact that they hoaxed in Charleston. If you were deceived by that story, that's what it was. Deception. The date he died on, also a date with 88 numerology, like the words poison and program. His full name, Emmett Louis Till, having gematria of 61, like Negro Revolt, which is what was called for by Louis Lomax in the wake of his death. Louis Lomax has gematria of 42. LL breaks down to 33, like Race War. This is what the people who run the show want. They want to provoke people. They want reactions. They want outcomes. This is how they forge the agenda. This is how they build the narrative that we allow them, or I should say, based on that narrative, we then allow them to lead us into deeper slavery. We're all enslaved. Something many people don't want to admit. But Truth Seeker, just again and again, Rodney King was beat on 3/3, March 3rd. Rodney King equals 59. He would die at age 47. Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, their initials are 33. Trayvon Martin was buried on March 3rd, 3/3, the same day Rodney King was beaten on. There's more than this. Just quick. Rodney King was beaten by the LAPD, the 33, just like KKK, the 11th letter, just like police in Pythagorean gematria, just like race war. Another numbers they like to code are 113, mainstream and dishonest. And this Tyshawn Lee story broke. There's a lot of young black youth out there that are living lives of tragedy and they're not getting any recognition. And the people who run this media, they are the people who control the wealth and the way money flows in this world. They're the same people that could help these children out. But instead of helping them, they use them as pawns on a chessboard for part of an ongoing, very sick agenda. An agenda of division, manipulation, dishonesty. Again, check out my video. Learn what the mainstream media is really about. Also, check my other videos, I've been showing all year how all of these racial stories are coded with the same numbers. Freddie Gray, Michael Brown, Sandy Bland, and the rest of them. I've covered all of them. Walter Scott. These are all contrived stories by the same set of numbers. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next time.